Hi everybody, my name is Nico Piro, I'm an Italian reporter and a Mojo trainer. Mojo stands for Mobile Journalism. I'm also the founder of Mojo Italia, which is an event and organization which spreads the mobile content creation culture among journalists and filmmakers. As a special correspondent, I mostly work outside of my newsroom, on the field, very often in places which are not comfortable ones and with not a proper technological infrastructure. So I have to bring with me all the things I need, and very often also little things, spare parts. So weight is a crucial factor for me, not just for the limitation of the airlines. The less weight you carry with you, the more hours of work you have ahead, and the more focus you stay. I will use Luma Fusion to produce outputs from my main TV pieces to social media. But recently I switched from mostly from Final Cut Pro on my MacBook Pro, my laptop, to Luma Fusion on an iPad Pro. Also to edit my TV pieces, the core of my assignments. It's a big advantage in terms of weights, in terms of mobility, but of course, at the same time, you have to follow a certain workflow, which I'm going to describe to you. I use multiple cameras. I use the phone, which I'm using right now to shoot this tutorial. I use a secondary phone, this one, thanks to my kids for these little stickers and addiction, iPhones. But I use also other types of camera, like this one, the Insta360, of course, GoPro. This is the 7, and a stabilized camera like Osmo Pocket. In multiple assignments, my main camera is just my iPhone, but in other, my main camera is this one. Mirrorless, so it's very compact. This is specifically the Alpha 600 5000 by Sony. I like it because it's very compact, and it's with all the accessories you need around, doesn't weigh that much. So again, weight is crucial, as I said before. Can I edit the footage out of this camera and those camera on Luma Fusion? The answer is absolutely yes. Let's see how. First of all, moving footage. I like to move footage from the camera to the iPad, not via airwaves. I don't like the Wi-Fi transfer. I prefer to do it physically. So I use USB-C hub, which has an SD card reader. So I take out the card from the camera, I put it into the card reader, and I can move the footage from the card to the file folder on my iPad. Of course, I need to create a well-labeled folder, subfolder, so I can easily find the footage I like. Media management is crucial in this phase because you don't want to scramble around to find your footage. So it's very important you create a folder with all the footage of a specific story, or just following your own criteria. You can choose the criteria of, in case of multiple assignment or multiple days assignment, you can choose the criteria of the date, the criteria of the location, the criteria of the story. Sometimes you can also add other criteria like shot with the drone. It depends on the way you like, but whichever is the way you like, please, before start editing, before beginning to put pictures together on the timeline, devote some time to media management. After ingesting my picture, what I do is I create a project it's not the project of the piece I'm going to edit, I'm going to deliver. It's a project which is meant to contain the selection, the best picture I have shot. What's the advantage of this kind of intermediate step? Someone can think, I mean, it's just a waste of time. Of course, if you are 1 hour away from your deadline, you are covering a breaking news, go ahead, edit your piece, do your best, and that's it. But if you have time, not that much time, like morning for the afternoon, in this case, I strongly suggest to create a project which can be an intermediate project, a selection project. Why? First of all, because editing will be a lot easier. Usually I like to shoot a lot. Why? Because my main output is a very short TV news bulletin piece, 90 seconds, 120 seconds, but I always try to have footage materials to assemble, to put together a mid-size, mid-form reportage, like a 20-minute long reportage. So it's important to have footage. So you wanna, it's like a big, I mean, orange. You want to squeeze it. You want to take the best juice out of it. So with this project, this intermediate project, this selection project, you can take out the best of your raw footage, and it's also a way to start at least giving an order to your footage. Look, in this case, I'm putting together the facade, the external shot of this building, which is the headquarters of the NGO, the location of the story, and I'm adding in order another shot, the shot of a guy entering this building. As you can see in the first shot, I took out another guy who was passing by. I was interested in, because it was just a bystander. Look, this is the guy getting into the building. Creating a selection project is also a good thing for your archive, because in the selection project, as I said, there is the juice, the best things you have shot, the best shots, the best scenes. So you just need to keep that project or the outsource of that project, exporting the clip you want to export from the project. There is also another advantage in this workflow. Once you have done your selection project, as an author, you have a clear idea of what picture you have and what picture you don't have. Because when you shoot, when you are on field, you think, let's say, that, I mean, that shot, it's perfect. It's my shot to open the piece, but then you go see it and it's not well exposed, it's out of focus, so you can use it. Your memory and your impression won't trick you once you have your selection project, because from selection project you know which shoot you have and which shoot you don't have. So you can write your piece in a more focused and effective way. I write my piece in Pages, which is as you know, the word processor by Apple. Runs perfectly on the iPad, and thanks to the iPad OS feature of having multiple windows in the same screen, I can launch voice recorder from Luma Fusion while reading from the same screen. So I don't have to print anything, I don't need two devices, and it's all in one. About voice recording, usually I don't like to just plug a microphone into a laptop or an iPad. Why? Because not always the quality is a good quality. In this case, I'm using this little microphone from Zoom, the F1. It's a standalone microphone, so you can use it as a lavalier for interviews. You can use it connecting few accessories from the Zoom family. You can use it as an ambient recorder, an ambient microphone. But at the same time, you can connect it to a computer or an iOS device and it will turn itself into a sort of amplifier, and so you have a lot of settings and you have clearly a better input into your workflow.
This is a good solution for audio recording on the field, at least for me. It's good because I find it very versatile. It can be a standalone microphone with a lavalier or an ambient mic. It can be a preamp for audio recording on iOS devices and on laptops or desktop computers, either Windows and Mac OS. Of course, it's not the only solution. In fact, you can buy other good microphone. I mean, it's a universe out there. Among many solutions which are available on the market, I want to spend a few words about the device I'm using to record this tutorial, which is InstaMic. InstaMic is very compact and very well protected from the water especially device, and it's very good in terms of ratio between price, quality and weight. It doesn't record on your iOS device or Android device. Given the fact that the file is stored onto the device, you don't have any problem in terms of reduction of quality due to Bluetooth. Bluetooth is mostly used to monitor audio and to remote the recorder using the app, the InstaMic app, onto Android or iOS devices. While recording video, if you want to use full quality audio, you need to sync the audio track and the video track with the clapper, or just using your hand to clap.
Recording a voiceover when you are on the field, it can be a big problem. Why? Because you are in places which are very noisy, and so you don't have an audio booth. Sometimes, I mean, I could give you multiple examples of strange places where I had to lock myself up just in order to keep the loudest noise away from my microphone. But they were not proper places. I mean, places with marble floors or with steel walls or other reflective surfaces, which are not the good thing when it comes to audio. So bathrooms or warehouses. I mean, can be a long story. So in my case, I see that given my tone of voice, it's better to add a filter to my voiceover, trying to cut the bass frequencies and in order to give more high frequencies, and so to make my voice sound a little better. Another advantage of creating a selection project is the fact that usually an interview can last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but in my case, for news bulletin or for like a 5 minutes piece, you are not gonna use all that, I mean, all the interview. You won't accept 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So during the selection project, you work also on this. So you can have like 6, 7 alternative clips, and it's easier to choose among them instead that listening the entire interview again and again. I recorded my voiceover in a new project. The new project is the project which has the title of the piece I'm going to edit, because it's a project which is going to host the piece I'm editing. First of all, I have to build the skeleton, the structure. The voiceover is the main building block of the structure. Of course, I have to clean it because maybe there are repetitions, because I stopped and I start again. So I have to clean the parts which are not good and I don't like. Once I've cleaned my voiceover, I can add to the project the excerpts from interviews which are part of my piece. Once I have built this skeleton, I can go ahead with putting pictures on this structure. As you can see, in order to build the structure, the skeleton of my piece, I'm using a feature from Luma Fusion which is called blank clip. It's like insert gap in Final Cut Pro X. It's a way to keep together the audio and some pieces of video waiting for other clips to be added. Once my skeleton is ready, I can use a new feature of Luma Fusion, which is multiple selection and another one which allows you to go from one project to another project. So I can get back to my selection project, I can start selecting multiple clips and copying in order to move them to the project where I'm editing my final piece. My story is about a bunch of filmmakers, so I feel like my footage is not enough. So I want to go on their own YouTube channel and download some excerpts from their videos in order to give to my audience a better idea of what these guys do. How do I download videos from YouTube on iPad? First of all, I use Safari. I go on the page, on the YouTube page I'm interested in. I copy the link of the videos I want to download, the video I want to download. Then I use an app called Documents. In Documents there is a tab Browser. In browsers, it's like Safari. It's an internet browser. I go to one of website, downloading websites, and I paste the link of the YouTube video I want to download. And I start downloading it. In this case, it downloads audio and video separately. So I have to do the process twice, and I will put together audio and video in my timeline in order to synchronize them. Once I have completed editing my piece, there is a very important final step, which is audio mixing. Nowadays we talk about video making, filmmaking. Back in time we're supposed to say audiovisual productions, and I think it's important to stress, to put in evidence the word audio, because most of us as filmmakers, video makers, video reporters are more focused on video than on audio, and it's a big mistake. During the editing process, the most important part for audio is a proper mixing, which means keeping the effects, the level of the ambient audio of the effects, and the level of voiceovers and interviews in a proper combination. You want to listen to the effects, but you don't want to miss the voiceover. You don't want the effects to cover the voice over or the voice of the people you have interviewed. Luma Fusion has a very interesting feature to handle this process, and it's called audio ducking. While setting the audio ducking, first of all you have to decide the level of the secondary audio track, in this case the effects. Usually is around -19, -21 dBs. Of course, you have to tell the app, to tell Luma Fusion which is the master track. In this case, the master track is my voiceover and the voice of the people I had interviewed. You maybe noticed that when I was building the skeleton of my piece, I left gaps between different parts of my voiceover. Why? First of all, because they can be possible places to put higher effects. So it's a way to mark an area where you want to listen, to give more emphasis to the ambient audio. It's not just that. As you can see in a very nice tutorial made by Rob Montgomery, when your voice goes silent, and it happens when you read, it's more difficult for audio ducking to go after it, even if the audio wave goes up and then goes down and then start going up again. So it's very good to have those gaps because it's an easier way, a clear way, it's a clear signal to the app, to the audio ducking, and it's like saying, hey, now you can pump up the effects. So I strongly suggest to, instead of keeping a single track, make your voiceover in multiple parts, and audio ducking will work smoothly. I have almost done with my editing, with my video editing, but I see at the end that this interview with this guy is very long. So I'm planning to cover it with, maybe it's time to show the world around, so what's happening what's the camp, and how difficult is the life in the camp. So what's around the refocus headquarters. At the same time, I don't want to cover too much the face of this guy, because the face of this guy is very, very expressive. How can I change? How can I avoid this 1 minute clip of interview being boring? Boring for the eyes of the viewers. There is a way. My footage is 4K footage, but my output will be 180, so full HD. What can I do? I can use a function in Luma Fusion to crop the face of this guy. I'm going in this panel and I'm zooming. I can zoom up to 200%, so there won't be any loss in terms of quality. And so it's like the final effect is like I have two different cameras, because there is no because it's very smooth. There is no step. There is no hard transition. It's very smooth, and I'm giving emphasis to the face of this young refugee who wants to be a filmmaker. When your editing is finished, it's time to export your piece. Luma Fusion offers you two main codecs, H.264, H.265. H.265 is a better codec, but not everybody likes it. I mean, so you have to know what your final recipients want to in terms of codec. As you can see in this panel, I'm increasing the data stream, the data flow in terms of megabyte per second, just to add more quality. My output will be not in 4K, but in full HD. And I can check how much space, how much room there is on my internal drive, and how big will be my piece. Once you have exported your piece, there is something you don't have to forget, which is media management again. My suggestion is to free as soon as you can the internal memory of the internal storage of your iPad Pro, so you can move the footage to an external drive. There are multiple options in terms of external drives. I want to show you just a few of them.
As you saw, I decided to move the footage needed for editing this piece directly onto the iPad internal storage. I did that for a matter of safety and security, I mean, to be on the safe side, also in terms of speed and reliability during the process. At the same time, you can do something else different from what I've just done using an external device. Anyways, I'm going to use an external device once the editing is finished to create another copy of my files, and so to move the files from the internal storage to the external one. I prefer to use disks which are light and compact, so easy to be carried around, like the SanDisk Extreme. This one has a size of 1 terabyte. But you can also use wireless discs like this one from Western Digital, the My Passport. This has an SSD drive inside, offers you the chance of copying the file straight from the SD card to the memory card to the drive, in fact, as an SD card reader on its side. The other advantage of this wireless disc is the fact that Luma Fusion connects to it straight away from its internal panel. Honestly, I don't like to use Wi-Fi devices because they are very often too slow, and so they create bottlenecks in your workflow and not always reliable. This WD disk is reliable, but I find it slow, especially when you go 4K. It's not a matter of hardware, but I think that WD should update the internal firmware and the app to improve the performance of this device. Anyways, whatever device you want to go for, never forget to organize your footage, because archive is a key in the future. One day, 1 month, 1 year, for sure you will need again the footage you just shot. So you need a way to find it quickly and to find what you really need. Should I use a keyboard to edit with Luma Fusion? This is an interesting question. You don't need to use a keyboard, but if you want to speed up your editing process, you should buy a keyboard. You can buy a whatever keyboard, a cheap keyboard like this one. It's an old keyboard I had in my house. Maybe I bought it 5 or 7 years ago. And you go on the Luma Fusion webpage, which shows you all the shortcuts. At the same time, there is another way which is faster and better. Editor Keys offers a cover for the smart keyboard by Apple. It fits perfectly, and with color coding, with symbols, it's easier to know which key you have to digit and which you don't. Do I need a pencil? You can start editing without a pencil. This is my humble opinion. And of course, you can explore different products from pencil makers, which offers a pencil less expensive than Apple ones. But at the same time, when you have a very intense workflow, short timing, when you edit a big volume of footage, you need a pencil, especially when you have to work on very, very small clips on the timeline, especially if you, like me, have big fingers. About audio, there is something I want to point out before completing this tutorial. Don't trust the iPad speakers. It's always good to check the audio of your piece with headphones. What's the problem? The problem is that iPad Pro has no mini jack connector, so basically you can plug in any type of headphones. My USB-C hub unfortunately has no 3.5mm jack connector, so I need another adapter to plug into the iPad a pair of headphones. Why I'm not using Bluetooth headphones? Because Bluetooth, of course, reduces the quality of the audio, and especially because 99% of the headphones on sale out there are designed to improve your music listening experience. In this case, you need another type of headphones because you want to check the sound as it is, the audio of your piece as it is. So you basically need neutral headphones. And neutral headphones, at least to the extent of my knowledge, have a physical connector, a mini jack connector.
I always wanted to be a filmmaker, and now Refocus is giving me the chance to be a filmmaker in the future, and it's the beginning of my journey.
Indeed, Yazir's journey began a few years ago, when with his family he left Syria for Europe, fleeing that bloody war. He found himself trapped on the island of Lesbos in the infamous Moria camp. He saw this former auto shop and walked in.
Right. So that's a nice pairing after the healthcare and the RAS.
A few NGOs work in the camp. They are mostly focused on the essential need of a population of 13,000 migrants. Instead, Refocus Media Lab has been teaching dozens of migrants how to become a filmmaker and how to produce, shoot and edit videos.
At its core, our program is centered on the future. We do spend a lot of time providing essentially cathartic safety for our students here, but we're not here digging into their past and the journey and the trauma that they've experienced and to get here to what they originally thought was safety in Europe. And we're not here to pass judgment on whether or not they are or they aren't eligible for asylum. What we care the most about is whether or not they have access to education. So our program is forward focused, so that the time that they spend here is really providing them an opportunity to turn a negative experience into something positive and productive for the future.
Big networks like CNN and BBC often give assignments to the Refocus crew to get an inside perspective into refugees' lives in the Moria camp.
And it makes me feel comfortable, and
A question arises: can the power of imagery make a difference if it's in the hands of a migrant?
Well, the other day when I was interviewing a person, I asked the same question for myself. I felt like, why am I doing it? It's been about, I don't know, 4 months that I'm filming and taking interviews, reporting. But am I doing something important or should I leave it? But then that guy who I was interviewing, he told me that at least I'm trying. I'm trying to be a voice of the refugees. Even if I can't change anything, at least I'm showing something. Sometimes it's really amazing, but sometimes it's painful that even though we are reporting, taking pictures, and showing the pain of the people, but yet no one cares about it.
Before saying bye, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, post them below. I want to give you just a few details about the story itself. Refocus Media Lab is still working in Lesbos. Unfortunately, the Moria camp a few days ago was burned down. So all, the residents of the camp are displaced, and of course also the refugee filmmakers are struggling.
This crisis was also an opportunity for refugee filmmakers. They battled with essential problems like charging batteries, keeping their devices' memory free in order to keep on recording, so moving files, but they won the battle. They were an essential source of footage and of details about the ongoing situation. They were able to give a new perspective to the storytelling of this crisis. So once again, this moment was the evidence, the proof of the importance of mobile journalism and of the importance of citizen journalism, and a big tribute to the great work done by the Refocus Media Lab.
I don't know what will happen in the next weeks, next days, but I hope you can, from time to time, give a look to their journey, because it's a very interesting and very moving experience.